All right, coming to you live from Studio G and fighting for you for the Foxglove Freedom. Here we go into another brand new hour on a free-for-all Good Friday. Warning, the Steve Gruber Show often results in extended periods of American pride, American optimism, and an uncontrollable enthusiasm for the future of this great country. We're kicking off a live broadcast day now on Real America's Voice, MTN, and reaching a growing global audience. Every day it gets bigger. Be sure to follow us on social media. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, President Trump says he has now gotten the Ukraine minerals deal put back together, but now we're not sure. Different things happened overnight. Number two, pollster Nate Silver says he knows who's most likely to get the Democrat nomination for president 2028, AOC. Yeah, you heard me right. And number three, like I said, Good Friday, a good free-for-all Friday. We clearly do not need a president or an executive branch, for that matter, that has become obvious. And honestly, we may not need a legislative branch either. We don't need it. We don't need a president. We don't need a House. We don't need a Senate. I mean, the men and women in black robes are ready to legislate and dictate everything they need to do for us from the bench. So why do we need a president? Why do we need a Senate or a House? Just ask the judges. They'll decide everything we need to know. They'll decide everything. All right, welcome to Free Speech Friday. That's sarcasm, obviously, but these clowns in black robes, in districts, federal districts, that think they can just rule over and lord over the entire country, are completely out of their lanes. This is Free for All Friday, powered by Patriot Mobile and the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. The number, 877-310-9966. For those of you on streaming, any of the platforms, including YouTube or Twitter or Rumble, 877-310-9966 is the number, the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. All right? It's your chance to be heard, America. Don't be shy. Take a moment. Tell me what's on your mind. Two rules. If you've been on the last month, please let someone else get a chance to get on. And, of course, keep it clean. It's a family program. After Hours is a place to light it up with more colorful language. I'll tell you about that later. Let's start with the genius Jasmine Crockett, with the dumbest thing I've heard all week, and it has to do with an MS-13 gangbanger getting tossed out of the country. Of course it does. Here she is.
So let me tell you something. This ain't about criminality. This is about the fact that he was a little too dark for them, and he ain't even that dark. But they don't like melanin. Melanin is the biggest enemy that they have ever seen. This is why they go after certain people.
I guess being a member of MS-13 is about us being racist. What an idiot. Keep her out there more often, please. Let her go to El Salvador and make a scene. That's what I'd really like. 877-310-9966. Tim is on the line in Louisiana. Tim, you're kicking it off today. Congratulations. Welcome to it.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. What's on your mind, my friend?
Yes, I was just saying, if they go a happy Good Friday, but I was saying, if they going to go down there and throw conventions at that prison, why don't the rhinos go with them?
Just leave them all right there.
Yes, sir, and have a convention.
Yeah, I think they should. Tim, thank you so much. Really appreciate you getting on with us and getting things started. Look, and I've said this. I think this is the best thing the Democrats can do. Tim's exactly right. Get them all down there. Get the rhinos down there. Get the rest of the Democrats down there. Show us who you really are. That's what they've done. These folks have picked their side. It's not your side. It's the side with lawlessness and gangbangers and open borders, murderers and rapists. That's the side they've chosen. So go ahead, advertise it, because we will. Steve is joining me from Illinois. Steve, what's on your mind? Let's get right to it.
Well, tomorrow is a wonderful anniversary of 8 men who died so that Jasmine Crockett could open up her stupid gums.
Who are these
250 years ago.
Who are these
Lexington and Concord. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Lexington and Concord. Was it 8? I thought it was 7. I'm going to have to go back and read again. I think he got me on the history fact there. 1775. That's what my coffee's named for, is what happened at Lexington and Concord. We talk about that here as well every day. Nice job, Steve. 250 years since Lexington and Concord, the Battle of the Bridges. The British didn't see it coming. Well, they got what they deserved. Ed is joining me in Indiana. Ed, let's get right to it. What do you got for me?
Well, we'll talk about the budget. The way we figured the budget today, they'll never get it balanced. You're going to have to change the system to the revenue received. You figure the revenue received this month is figured next month and is distributed the following month, and that way you can never go over your amount of revenue, and you'll fund the things that have to be funded, and the rest of the stuff will be eliminated.
So in effect, it's a balanced budget, but it's a cash in, cash out system.
Yes, that's the only way you're going to ever get it straightened out.
All right. Well, I'll keep that in mind. I'll speak to Ivy about that here at home. Maybe that's the only way we can. Our finances actually are in far better shape. Sir, thank you for the phone call. Greatly appreciate you. I do. It's Good Friday. And I'm glad to see this president respecting the Easter holiday and that Easter Sunday is coming. There's always, it's one of the things that Ivy says. There's always a third day. You'll always get a chance to rise. No matter what has happened to you, there's always a third day. It's darkest before that third day always, but it's one of the things that she's so good at that, and it motivates me. Joe is in Colorado. Joe, let's go. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Steve, how's it going this morning?
Doing great. What do you got?
What I'm wondering is, have they ever found out anything about how much of the gold is missing from Fort Knox?
Still nothing.
And if so, when are we going to hear about it?
Well, you're not, apparently. The last time cameras and reporters were allowed inside the walls or inside the vaults, any of the vaults, 1974. You can go back and watch the film. It's on YouTube. I've looked at it. It's interesting. But I can tell you that there's no verification.
This documentary, and it shows that in 2001, on September 10th, there was a guy who was auditing Fort Knox, and he found out there was $3 trillion in gold missing. And they next day,
well, be
9/11
careful.
happened.
Well, of course, but I'd be careful about those documentaries, Joe. They sometimes play a little fast and loose with the facts. I can't verify or nullify that documentary. I just say be careful. Greatly appreciate the call. Calvin is in the Palmetto State of South Carolina. Calvin, what's happening down there? What can you tell me? What's your question? What's your comment?
Yeah, I'm just curious about the what happened with the Keystone Pipeline.
No, I think the Keystone Pipeline is dead because, good question, by the way. We have an energy policy, Secretary Wright moving at the speed of light to make sure that we can have all the energy we need in this country at affordable rates. But the Keystone XL pipeline, once Joe Biden pulled the plug on it, right? I believe that was the end of the line, because once you stop that project, you couldn't just put it back together with a magic wand. Calvin, thank you for the call. Greatly appreciate it. Gas prices down again today. The national average $3.16, by the way. We're down from $3.67 a year ago. Things are becoming more affordable around here, thank God. It's Free for All Friday. I'll be right back. What is the one thing you have to do if you haven't done yet today on this Good Friday? It's the same every single day. If you haven't done it, I need you to do it. I'm experimenting, and you're my lab assistants, all right? That is, go to Facebook, follow me. Facebook is the project today. I want to see if we can move that needle, if it's real. Zuckerberg's been changing the algorithm, playing around a little bit, so we want to see if that's going to fire things up again. I will keep an eye on it. Of course, you also need to follow me on Twitter, X, and Rumble, and we're live on YouTube now, which people seem to like. Just letting you know, you've got options, alternatives. If there's something you don't like about the service you have, well, then fix it. Ed is in Illinois, the great state of J.B. Pritzker, the 10-ton governor.
Hi, Steve.
Hello, Ed. How are you?
Good. Good morning, Steve. Hey, I just want to talk about the Social Security numbers.
All right.
I've noticed for several years now. We all got the illegals working in mainly like the restaurants here in Illinois. We all know it. We all see them.
Sure.
And so I started wondering, well, how do they get paid? If they don't have a Social Security number, how do they get paid? And I started asking a couple owners that I knew that they said, oh, yeah, we know some of them, their numbers do not belong to them, but they use them anyway.
Well, I'm sure you also heard, hold on, Ed, you also must have heard here the news recently that during the Biden administration, what was it, 4 million? 5 million Social Security numbers handed out to illegals. That happened, so there's several million. And what is remarkable to me, Ed, is that they always come back, they being the government, they being whomever you pick, they being the rhinos or the Democrats or the mainstream media, it's always 11 or 12 million people in this country illegally. The number hasn't changed in 20 years. It's remarkable, isn't it? It's a lie is what I'm getting at. And yes, some of these illegals have Social Security numbers. Go ahead.
The other thing is, when they let all these illegals come in, of course, they bring the drugs in with them.
Yep.
And then everyone's like, well, we need the illegals because there's no one here to do the work. Well, the ones that are supposed to be doing the work are addicted to the drugs that they brought in. So they're letting the people in, they're letting the drugs in.
There's probably a bit of truth to that. There's probably a bit of truth to that, Ed. But the fact of the matter is, Americans, there are a lot of dirty jobs. A.k.a. Mike Rowe, that a lot of these folks don't want to do. But I think there's plenty of people in America that will do the jobs if they need to be done. Thank you for the call, Ed. Good, enlightening stuff from the great state of Illinois. Look, the other thing that you're probably not hearing, the number of worksite arrests, all-time record high right now, too. So if you think you're working and you're here illegally and you've broken the law, guess what? They're going to come find you. Oh, by the way, Chris Van Hollen went and found our Senor Abrejo Garcia down in El Salvador. Somehow got him out of the prison, or asked real nicely. He got out of prison for at least a few minutes to meet the good senator, who's never met the mother or the family of Rachel Marin, the mother of 5 murdered in Maryland in his state, never bothered to meet them or the family, a woman murdered by an illegal from El Salvador. You see, they have chosen their side, friends. The Democrats and the mainstream media and the left have chosen their side. It's not your side. Let me just be clear about that. It is not your side. In the Keystone State of Pennsylvania, we find Joe. Joe, what's happening? Let's get to it.
Hi, how's it going, Steve?
Good.
I got 2 things I'd like to talk about real quick and bring attention to. I don't know if you know anything about them or not, but there's a YouTube and TikTok phenomena going on where people are driving without licenses, refusing to give IDs to police officers, and they claim that they're sovereign citizens, sovereign citizens.
That's gone on for decades. Now, go on.
It's really gaining traction, though, lately, and it seems like the state of Florida isn't putting up with it, thank God. But Ohio and Chicago, they all need to get their stuff together. Second of all, this colossal bioscience lab, I believe what they're doing is evil.
And what is that?
More attention needs
Tell
to
me
be
what
brought
it is.
to it. They have brought back the dire wolf, which hasn't been around for thousands of generations.
Hold on. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They brought back
they didn't. They
brought back a gray wolf.
But they took DNA from
a 13,000-year-old piece of bone, and I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. You're right, but thank you for calling. Look, they didn't bring back the dire wolf. They did not resurrect a species. because the DNA they extracted from those 13,000-year-old fossils is damaged. It's not perfect. So basically what they've done is created a hybrid gray wolf. Do I think they should be playing in that realm? It's dangerous, potentially. They'd have a lot more luck, I believe, trying to bring back a thylacine, which is a Tasmanian tiger. They only went extinct in 1937. They actually have intact DNA from those animals, if you could figure out a way to create a fertilized egg. Danny is in Alabama. Danny, it's your time here on the program. What's on your mind?
Well, one thing I want to say, Steve, I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
My question is, our Constitution, ain't the Supreme Court supposed to protect our Constitution?
Yeah, that's right. It's supposed to tell us what's a legal law, what's not a legal law, basically called balls and strikes. That's close enough. Go ahead.
Well, why don't they do their job instead of sitting up there drawing money from all those people out here? And
what do you want them to decide on?
Trump agenda online.
What case do you want them to decide, Danny? Which one is outstanding that you want taken care of?
Well, one, all the rogue judges we got out there ain't got no business stick their nose in Trump's business.
Well, there's truth to that, and I believe that. Thank you, Danny, for the call. Let me answer that. I think that will end up at the Supreme Court. I think the Supreme Court will rule in favor of the Trump administration. You're going to find that, look, federal district judges are basically local judges. They have a district. It usually could be like an area like Boston or San Francisco. They have a district. They don't get to impose orders that impact the entire country. They don't have the power to shut down the president of the United States. It's not the way it works. It's not the way it works. Anyhow, happy Good Friday, as I've said a couple of times. It is the holiest time of the year for Christians, for people like me, and hopefully people like you. I'll be right back. It's the Steve Gruber Show on a Free-for-All Friday. I just caught a clip off from Morning Joe over on MSNBC, where Joe Scarborough, once a Republican, once a member of the Reagan coalition, traded in his brain for God only knows what. Mush, I guess. He traded that in and says that the Trump administration is losing this argument on Abreu Garcia. Hardly. Have you seen the numbers, Joe? Have you guys seen the numbers? The numbers are pretty remarkable. The numbers are this. 56% of all Americans want every single illegal deported, every single one. That's up from 38% in 2016, up 18 points. Every single illegal. That includes Democrats and independents and people that vote. They want them all gone. It's a fact. Let's see here. Keith is in Georgia. Keith, how are you today?
Good morning, sir. Several good topics this morning.
All right.
Listen, I had totally forgot about the Muslim Islam land they had in Texas. Hadn't heard no more about that till I caught some of Frank's show this morning.
Yeah. The big, the sprawling community out there. That's a Muslim-run community out there in the sprawling land of Texas. Yeah, go on.
Hey, you're exactly right, man. It's been real quiet about it, but they're full full-fledged moving on with it. And Kim Paxton's running for that seat for Cornyn. I hope he gets it. But, you know, I can't believe they're still letting that go on. And
I can't believe it goes on at all.
And the police can't go.
Yeah, appreciate the call. Thank you very much. I can't believe it goes on at all. There's this sprawling community. For anybody who, if you've missed this, there was these real estate developers that brought in and sold land specifically to illegal aliens because they knew they could get away with it. Built this sprawling community, like 50,000 people. All illegal for the most part, right there in Texas. We had the call earlier, 1775. It is 8 Americans died at Lexington Concord. That's what our coffee's named for. 1775 coffee, bold, high quality, built to last. This is it, folks. You want the best coffee to start your day? Get with 1775 coffee. It's what we drink around here. 1775coffee.com. You can find out more. Use the promo code Gruber. You'll save 10%. You'll be glad you did. A lot of great stuff right there. Roasted by Patriots for Patriots. 1775coffee.com. Promo code Gruber.
Peace, y'all. This is
All right, so during the break there, I was talking with my good friend Bob up in North Pole, Alaska. Says the weather's nice. Said I should come back and moose hunt with him again. I said, you know, maybe we should do that. He's probably not wrong. North Pole, Alaska, just north of Anchorage there. Nice place. Let's see here. We've got Paul in Tennessee, the volunteer state. Paul, what do you got on your mind? Let's get to it.
Good morning, hell.
You there, Paul?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, go, buddy,
me?
go.
Oh, well, God bless you and all the RAV people for telling the truth, and I wish more people would listen.
I agree
what I
with
wanted
that.
to do is just remind people to read Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7 of the Constitution.
Why is that?
As it says right in there, a regular auditing with receipts. And they say regular for us is once a year with the IRS.
All right, hold on. So Article 1, Section 9, Part what?
Clause 7.
I got to have to find that. All
It
right.
says, no money shall be drawn from the Treasury, but in consequence of appropriations made by law, and a regular statement and account of the receipts and expenditures of all money shall be published from time to time.
And it says it. He's right, folks. He's got it exactly right. I'm reading it with him. It says actually public money, but you're right. You missed that word public, but you're exactly right. Paul, you nailed it.
Yes, and Congress has been derelict in their duty.
Yeah, my entire life and yours, and probably 100 years before that as well, Paul. Good history lesson. I greatly appreciate that. He's right. We need a regular auditing with receipts. Oh, and by the way, they're doing that. They call it Doge. And Elon Musk is now the devil incarnate because of it. Elon Musk and Doge are doing exactly what he says here. They're auditing the government as it requires here. Article 1, Section 9, Part 7. He's right. There it is. Nice work. That's why I love you guys. Let's go to Texas. Alan is there. Alan, how are you? What's on your mind? What do you got?
I'm doing good this morning, Steve. I hope you are too.
Yeah.
Here's my question. When these Democrat governors, like the one up there in Maryland, want to get stupid on the American people, why don't we get stupid on them and suspend their diplomatic immunity when they go to El Salvador? They go on their own dime. And then when they get there, we can lock them up for collusion with the MS-13, and they can plot all they want while they're down there.
Well, we don't even need to go that far, Alan. It's a great call, and it's a great point you make. But here, you don't have to go that far. Here's, if you care to go this far, I probably don't. I'll be honest with you. If a senator or a member of Congress goes someplace to see somebody, if I don't agree with it, so it is. I'm going to blanket that with freedom of speech. You're free to be stupid, and I'm going to cover that. However, if you're down there negotiating with the nation of El Salvador, or you want to negotiate that you don't want people sent out of America sent to the CCOT prison, if you're out there trying to discuss how the border is controlled or anything of that nature, you are violating the Logan Act. Simple stuff. You're in violation of the Logan Act if you're out there trying. John Kerry has done this for years. Al Gore has done this. People have done this. They violated the Logan Act. Nobody's ever held to account for violation of the Logan Act, and they should be. So, Alan, I think you are on the right trail. I think you just took a little bit of an early turn. So, the Logan Act, you don't need to do anything. You don't need to worry about anything. You don't have to suspend anything. Just say, hey, you're down there in violation of U.S. law. You're not down there legally because you're down there negotiating with a foreign government to do X, Y, and Z. That is not allowed. Period. Paragraph. Yes, it comes to the point in the program where one of my favorites shows up. Jennifer is here. Jennifer, what is on your mind?
Well, thank you very much, Steve. You're one of my very special people.
Thank you.
I would like to see the judges, the lawyers, and the politicians that have violated their oath of office by being treasonous to the Constitution and the people of the United States thrown out of office immediately. No ifs, ands, and buts, and been banned from ever holding office again. The other thing I'd like to know is what in holy heck is going on with these companies that are hiring that have, quote, mass meetings and talk to the people about their qualifications. How can you possibly pick out a good person when you're talking to a group?
Very hard to do.
It just irritates the crap out of me.
Yeah.
People want to work here, young people, old people, and they're not getting the opportunity. Something nasty's going on.
Greatly
I love the
appreciate you.
United States, but boy, we're on a bad track right now. We've got too many goofy politicians up there.
You got that right,
I'm
Jennifer.
telling you, half of them are nuts. And excuse me, sir, but I'm a lady. I'm a woman, and these women drive me nuts. They're cracked. They're brainless.
Yeah.
They have no common sense. I would like to see these politicians undergo a lie detector test publicly.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Before we
Pay-per-view.
vote for them. We don't know enough.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Steve.
God bless you, Jennifer. How about that? Would you? Here's what I would ask you. If these politicians, Republicans, Democrats, unknown, somewhere in the middle, if they did public lie detector tests on pay-per-view, I'm lining up to watch that. I'm putting my card in the slot and saying I'll watch that. Can you imagine AOC or Jasmine Crockett or John Cornyn from Texas that we heard about here? Hey, here's lie detector time. Did you say this? Did you do this? Did you know about this? Wouldn't that be entertaining? Never happened, of course, but man, would that be fun. All right, in Idaho, we find Steve. Steve, what's on your mind today?
Hey, I'm calling from the Gem State, one of the last bastions of Foxhole of Freedom.
There you go. This is the Foxhole of Freedom. Glad to have you on board. What's on your mind?
Well, I got a couple of things. One is that Hatch Act, that they ought to be paying for all that themselves, and the people who are representing this MS-13 gang, I believe that Van Hollen is representing them. So he's making money on both ends, travels down there on the government dime, comes back, if he comes back, and tries to tell us about how bad we are. Now,
well, maybe you've made a good point. Hold on. I think maybe you've touched on something here, Steve, that I hadn't considered. These people are his constituents, MS-13, as you point out. Maybe they're contributing to his campaign. Maybe they're contributors, financially, that are making it all possible. I didn't consider that. Go on.
Well, I think it's time for a convention of states, and I do not know or can think of any reason why, with the problems the country has now, why we don't do it and get all this stuff squared away
Article
so we
5.
can get on with our lives.
Article 5, Convention of States. The general was here with me yesterday. In case you missed it, go back and look at it. He was here again yesterday. He is here regularly. Steve, thank you for calling in. Greatly appreciated. What if he's onto something there? What if the MS-13 people are putting money into the coffers of those running for office? I mean, it would be just like what happens in Mexico, where the cartels put money into the political machines to make sure those machines don't bother them. Mr. Van Hollen, are you on the take? Are you? I think that's a legitimate question. Again, we can put him on live pay-per-view on a lie detector test. I'm watching. Are you? It's the Steve Gruber Show. A busy Good Friday, the most important Christian holiday of the year. It's upon us, Easter Sunday. And he is risen. Yeah, that's correct. We're going to continue with the phone calls here. The number 877-310-9966. It is the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. Rush Limbaugh used to do, what was it, Open Line Fridays? We do Free for All Friday, very similar. Rush, if not for Rush, none of us would be here. Lee, North Carolina, you're on the program. What's on your mind?
How you doing, Steve? Happy Good Friday to you.
Happy Good Friday to you. What do you got for me?
I think you've touched on this before, but we need to get some people that have broken the law, that are high up in the pecking order. We need to get them into court, tried and convicted, and going to jail.
You know, you're right. We need to, there's no question about that. We need to set an example for a few folks out there. I think you're exactly right about that, Lee.
Yeah, if we don't put them in jail, they're going to just keep doing it.
And doing it.
Nobody wants to go to prison. I don't think anybody does. But
I don't think anybody does either. But
these folks, like John Brennan, Mayorkas, all of them need to be, being tried for treason or whatever. They broke the law against the United States. Let's get them tried.
I agree with you, Lee.
Let's do it.
Thank you for the phone call. I agree. And a lot of people feel the same way. How can we ever get this law and order thing figured out if nobody's ever held to account? I can't argue with that. And when you know there are egregious violations of law, and you know that people have, Steve Bannon and others get hauled off to jail for contempt of Congress, but Democrats never had that happen to them. People like Mayorkas or Brennan, like he mentioned, that never happens to them, even though we know they openly have lied to Congress on numerous occasions, as they say we have the receipts, and yet they skate. What is it with you folks? Why can't you hold people accountable? Republicans, you are in charge right now. If there is a contempt of Congress, or you lied to Congress, or whatever it might be, instead you dance around it. It is embarrassing. Jerry is in the great city of San Antonio, Texas. I like San Antonio, by the way. Jerry, good morning. What do you got for me?
Hey, good morning. I was just wondering, with the Biden crime family, this auto pen with the pardons.
Oh, yeah.
Has anybody really looked into that?
Well, I have, and here's what I have found out. It's going to be very difficult to get around, Jerry. I have, because if the executive consents, then it is legal and constitutional according to several different conservative constitutional scholars I've talked to. Here's the problem with Joe Biden. Could he actually consent? We were told in an in-depth, deep dive into him that he was an elderly man with a bad memory and therefore couldn't stand trial even though he was guilty, because nobody would, convict a guy that was in that mental condition. So then you pose the question, is he capable of consenting to the auto pen, signing anything, legislation, pardons, whatever it might be? The answer is probably not. Here's the bigger problem. Time has passed, and time is going to continue to pass. And at some certain point, you've passed the point of no return. And once you're at the point of no return, which could be now, actually, now that he's out of office, we might be past the point of no return. How do you ever go back and correct that? It's a problem, Jerry. It's a great point you make. Leave it to a Texan to leave a great point like that on the table for me to consider. And I think we should consider reviewing what the auto pen signed. I just don't think there's time enough on the clock, and they have bigger issues, and away we go, and it gets forgotten. Same thing with Barack Obama, who used the auto pen. This is why Donald Trump sits in public in front of a camera to sign the things he signed, so there's no question about what's being signed or why. Jack is in Pennsylvania. Jack, welcome to the program. How are you?
Good morning, Steve. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you.
Got a suggestion.
All right.
Gaza. I think they should move the United Nations to Gaza and put them right in the middle of that. Let them decide what's going on.
Do they get their powder blue
That's
helmets
all
and
I have
everything?
to say. You have a good day.
You too. Thank you, Jack. Do they get the powder blue helmets to stand out there in the middle of Gaza? You know, and I agree. Let's send the British and the French and the Germans. Let's send the Russians. They're part of the United Nations. Let's send Chinese troops in there. All right? I think that's a cute idea. I like that little powder blue helmets. Todd, you're on board from Omaha, Nebraska. Todd, tell me what's on your mind.
Just a couple things. So if we got representatives running around doing their own agenda on, Americans' taxpayer dollars
every day,
and if they're not doing the right thing while they're running around, I think the State Department needs to revoke somebody's passport. Just a suggestion that should be looked at. And
but see,
my other comment is,
hold on. Let me deal with that for a second, Todd, because I want Van Hollen in El Salvador, and I want cameras everywhere, and I want all the Democrats to go. I want them to be on camera. I want them to be loud and proud and planting their flag on that hill they're going to die on politically. I'm all for it. Go on.
He's gone.
All right, he's gone. Anyhow. My point being is I want him on camera. I want him to be proud. I can get one more in here. Bob in Indiana. Bob, how are you?
Fine. I got a quick question that maybe you can clarify for me.
Shoot.
With all of the judges attacking Trump through the courts, there was one that I heard that had John Doe's. Aren't you supposed to be able to confront your accusers?
Yes.
And they're putting out these John Does?
Yeah.
Could you clarify that for me?
I can't, except that I've come to learn that oftentimes in these big government machines, they play fast and loose with the rules, with the truth, with the sanctity and the future of this country. It's a dangerous game that they play every single day because they don't play by the same rules you do or I do. They're better than us. Just ask them. They'll let you know. It's the Steve Gruber Show on Good Friday, Free for All Friday, 877-310-9966. Back after this. All right, we rolled it out here just a few days ago, but we are live on YouTube every morning as well. Apparently, the people that go over to watch this program live stream on YouTube, pretty pleased with that platform. So enjoy that. If you're having any issues any place you are, you just want to try and check it out, go ahead. Please do. YouTube, The Steve Gruber Show. That's me, that's you, that's the community together, and we're in so many other places. Don't forget to support the folks on Real America's Voice, MTN Networks, and the LOB, the Lobster Networks of Maine. We're also there, my friends. We enjoy it, and New Hampshire as well. Tom is in Pennsylvania. Tom, how are you today? What's on your mind?
Yeah, Steve, thanks for taking my call. Two things that disturbed me was the arson at the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania, but the other thing was the governor of Pennsylvania giving taxpayer dollars to the Muslim community that has alleged Brotherhood of Muslims ties.
Isn't it odd that Josh Shapiro, a Jewish governor, would make sure that those Muslims are well-funded? Go on real quick.
Well, yeah, I found that quite disturbing that he gave them taxpayer dollars.
Agreed.
And that community may have ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, and they believe in Shiite law. And if anyone knows
they do,
they
believe in the caliphate. Tom, thank you for the call. You're exactly right. I want to mention this thing about the governor's mansion that he brought up, and I'm glad he did. Look, the biggest crime to me about the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania, the historical value and significance of the things that were burned up by this idiot. Now, he was a leftist idiot. If you missed it, another leftist idiot attacks America. But all the history lost in that mansion it's just terrible. Burned up. I mean, this is where Benjamin Franklin was, and other great historical figures spent time in Pennsylvania. The artwork, the irreplaceable pieces of history burned up. But I also ask, where were the Pennsylvania State Police? Guys, I love you. But how does a guy hop the fence at the governor's mansion, run around, break through a window with a hammer, throw a Molotov cocktail, and then leave? A lot of questions there for me. I got to be honest, a lot of questions. It is Free for All Friday. It's the Steve Gruber Show. We'll continue. We've got Charles and Larry and more, and all your calls at 877-310-9966. That's the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, open for business today for the next 2 hours. I'll be right back. Hey, live from Studio G and fighting for you for the foxhole of freedom every single day. We go into another brand new hour of the Steve Gruber Show. Remember, there's a trigger warning here, folks. You can feel like a real American when you're done here this morning. Don't forget it. Live in all 50 states and around the world. It's a dirty job on a free-for-all Friday, but I'm going to do it. So here are 3 big things you need to know this hour. Number 1, a devastating shooting on the campus of Florida State left at least 2 people dead, more injured. Sadly, the shooter, the son of a local sheriff's deputy. Number 2, the Supreme Court has agreed to hear President Trump's challenge to birthright citizenship, or what many people refer to as anchor babies. And number 3, welcome to a Good Friday edition of Free Speech, Free for All Friday, powered by Patriot Mobile and the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. The Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. I got several folks already ready to go, so we're just going to get right to it. Charles, in Tennessee, you're first this hour. How are you, sir?
Good.
What is on your mind?
My problem is, and I deal with 4 countries, China, Iran, Israel, and the U.S., which is us. Everything's being said about not attacking them, but the problem is, if we do attack them, I think China will jump in and attack us. And
you mean if we get involved with a war? War in Iran is not preferred, but Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. So how do we fix that problem? I mean, because here's the deal, Charles. If we don't take them out, the Israelis will, don't you think?
Yeah, but we can't afford right now to do that because China will jump in because that is their opportunity.
Well, they're going to jump in at some point. I agree with you, and I understand your point. The best idea is to avoid war altogether. The best idea is and I'm going to tell you right now, the regime in Tehran, in Iran, is at its weakest point since 1979. So the best outcome is for that regime to go away. Charles, thank you for the call. Greatly appreciate you. He's right. I don't want to get in a war, and I think he's right as well. China will either get in directly or indirectly. They'll play ball in there, don't you worry. And Larry is from Michigan. Larry, how are you today?
Good. Good morning.
Good morning. What's on your mind?
Years ago, back in my misguided youth, there used to be a guy on the radio named Chuck Harder.
All right.
And he talked about communism and stuff like that a lot. And one of the things he used to talk about the most, and your people, your audience, they should Google 1963 communist goals. It's some pages out of the Congressional Record, I think 2 or 3 of them.
All right.
And this is the goals of the Communist Party, you know.
And they're knocking them down, aren't they? They're knocking them down, aren't they, Larry?
There's 45 of them, and it would open a lot of people's mind to just glance through it and think to yourself, how many of these are done?
Yeah. There you go. Larry, greatly appreciate you. 1963, the commie goals. What are they? They're in the record, of course. And we'll take a look at that. Ron is in Tennessee. Tennessee popular this hour. Ron, how are you? What's most important to you today?
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment about the El Salvadorian gang member.
Kilmer Abreu Garcia.
With him.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. You want to talk about
Yes.
Senor Garcia. Go ahead.
Yes, I was just wondering why they just don't do a Zoom call with him and say, well, you've had your date and it's over with.
You know, there was a court order that said he couldn't go back to El Salvador. Apparently that's true. All right, so I appreciate the call. So apparently that's true. He's been seen now by the Senator Van Hollen. Here's the problem. The reason he wasn't allowed to go back to El Salvador, this non-withdrawal, the non-removal order, I guess, whatever it's called, is because he had been threatened by Barrio 18, a rival gang. Because he's a member of MS-13, a rival gang threatened him. And so therefore he couldn't go back to El Salvador. What else do we need to know here? He is a citizen of El Salvador, not the United States. He's been involved in human trafficking. When arrested, he was with 2 high-level MS-13 gang members, and the money was treated in such a way that demonstrates they're MS-13 gang members. Apparently beat his wife to the point that she got a restraining order. Okay, all of these things. All of these things. All right, Zach, California, how are you today?
Yes, sir. Doing good. How about yourself?
Doing wonderful. Thank you. It's Friday. Good Friday. What's on your mind?
Yes, indeed. Well, hey, first I'd like to just salute your work. I love your work.
Thank you.
Great work. Indeed. And then, so one of the things that I just wanted to kind of speak on a little bit is that I think when Trump speaks on the golden age, I just think the mass populace shouldn't sleep on that, because I think we really do have an opportunity to embark upon the golden age here in the United States, especially being that race is being so exploited within this country. And those that are exploiting it do not have the best interests of so-called minorities in mind. So I think
true.
In light of all of history, indeed. So I just think we really got to embrace the moment and really embrace it.
So what you're saying,
forward.
Zach, and I'm going to encapsulate it. What Zach is saying is pretty simple. Don't just let it be a bumper sticker. Let it be a mindset, a way of life. Make America's golden age an actual golden age, which means do your part. Roll up your sleeves, do the work, teach the children, talk to your grandkids, go to church on Sunday. This Sunday is Easter. You should be there. Unless, of course, you're Jewish or something else, but of course, you get my point. Be faithful to your God. Be faithful to your country. Get involved. Roll up your sleeves. Make America great again. Make it the golden age. And you don't do that by sitting on the couch and bumping your gums. Great call, Zach. I really appreciate it. Great call. One more. Terry in North Carolina this hour. One more. Terry, go ahead. What's on?
Hello.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Doing fine, Steve.
Good.
I got a question, man. I've been reading up on the Logan Act.
Right.
And I'm wondering why it hasn't been applied to these Democrats going down to El Salvador.
Should be. Plain and simple, it should be. But we never hold these people. And look, I don't want to mitigate or to stop people, politicians from going to different countries to try to negotiate release of people or this or that. But in this particular case, they're just wrong. They are just wrong. They have chosen sides, the Democrats, Terry. They've chosen the side of gangbangers, criminals, human traffickers, drug dealers. They didn't choose you, Terry, and that's what bothers me. They did not choose you, or me for that matter. What a morning it's been. I greatly appreciate all the callers. We'll fit them in around the edges. We do have some guests coming up on the program. You'll want to stick around for that. I'll be right back. It is the Steve Gruber Show. Good Friday, Free for All Friday. All right, back to it now. More examples of our corrupt media. That's what my next guest says. Dennis Neal is with me. He is the author of The Leadership Genius of Elon Musk. He's an award-winning journalist, media strategist, advisor to senior executives, and the host of What's Bugging Me. Well, that'd be a long list for me today. Dennis, welcome to the program. Nice to see you, my friend.
It's wonderful to see you, Steve, and thanks for the time.
Great to have you here. So let's see. I haven't spent any time on this at all, but I think it's worthy of mentioning because on Friday we do a lot of cleanup. And that's this whole female rocket thing of Blue Horizon, or whatever this is, with, Jeff Bezos and his... These people are not astronauts. And in fact, they weren't even weightless. These images of them being weightless, it's just because the rocket's coming back to Earth. It's like coming over the peak of a roller coaster. It wasn't true weightlessness at all, was it?
Yeah, interestingly, already on the X platform, Steve, you've got conspiracy theories coming up, and they think the entire thing was faked. Some people think they didn't go into space at all because they showed that when that capsule usually comes down, it's scorched and burned. Of course they are. Through the atmosphere. And this one was just lily white as could be as it sat there. But the thing that really bugs me about it, Steve, is that the media went wild covering this tourism stunt, and they had almost nothing to say about the heroic rescue by SpaceX, Elon Musk's company, of the two astronauts that Boeing stranded at the International Space Station, and that the Biden administration kept up there for 8 or 9 months. I mean, that was a heroic story, and the media had almost nothing on it because he's with Trump and Trump's bad. Yeah, it's interesting. You're right. And the media tried to ignore the fact. And then they tried to say, well, Joe Biden didn't just leave him up there. Yes, he did. Joe Biden did just leave him up there. And yes, he did do it for political reasons. And yes, he's guilty of that shameless act. And yes, Elon Musk did send a rocket to retrieve them safely, I might add. It was a terrific. Elon Musk, look, I've had people, well, he didn't invent this, he didn't invent that. You know what? Edison didn't invent a lot of things either. He stole a lot of great ideas. But the point is leadership, and you build a company, and with leadership, you can take great ideas and turn them into something exponentially larger. It's not, inventors, if you will, Dennis, are not always the best marketers or salespeople. And so you need somebody with vision and leadership to take things to the next level and the level beyond that. What would you say? And they're not always the nicest people, are they? Those who achieve great things. My book, The Leadership Genius of Elon Musk, offers 11 lessons of Elon that explain his success and which we can borrow and follow to build a better life or feel better about the life we have. And one of those lessons is to dream huge, really huge, and spend decades in pursuit. I think most of us, we fear failure, and so therefore we set smaller goals. So people think small. Dennis, get right to it. People think so. You've got to stake out huge goals. Stake out a huge goal and then go get it, because the fact of the matter is, you look at billionaires are unicorns, right? So Elon Musk is a bit of a unicorn, but there's 500 unicorns in America now. If you stake out a big goal and go get it, there is no reason you can't make that happen in America. I'm a little old now to make it, but if I had started in my 20s with the right mindset, I could have been there, right? And maybe I'm not too old, but you understand, right? Well, understand, when he renamed Twitter X platform, you know what? 20 years ago, he started a company called X.com. He wanted it to be the everything app. You could send money and pay bills and collect money and buy stocks. You could do everything there. The PayPal side of the company said, nah, we just want to handle some payments. So he leaves. He gets fired in flight during his honeymoon, the one time he took a break in years, and he gets fired. And do you know that around, I think it's 2018, he buys back X.com name from PayPal for $1 million. He says, oh, this is just for sentimental reasons. But he was planning all along. He wanted to build this everything app, and he never let go of that dream. Same with Mars. He goes to Moscow with a friend of mine that I quote in the book, James Cantrell, James is kind of taking him to see the circus over there. They're the best rocket makers in the world. This is 20 years ago or more. And he tells the Russians he wants to buy their rockets and do a trip to Mars. And the chief engineer spits on his shoes in disgust. And he turns to Cantrell and he says, I think he just spit on my shoes. And Cantrell tells him, yeah, I think it's a sign of disrespect. So he finally got the message there. But then he went on to build SpaceX, which basically toppled the Russian dominance of the space market. It supplanted NASA. It's put 6,600
It saved,
satellites.
Dennis, let's be crystal clear about this. It saved the American space effort. It did.
Exactly. And now Democrats are upset.
Saved NASA. It saved the American space effort completely. Otherwise, we'd have nothing.
It gave us the lead. It put us back in the lead.
100%.
Incredibly so. Yeah. And so he's got these huge dreams where most of us fear failure. Another lesson says it's better to launch and burn than never to launch at all. And, we will now see him put Starship up there. It is the largest spaceship ever. It's 100 feet taller than the Statue of Liberty on her pedestal. And that sucker went through explosion after explosion and jeering and media coverage, before it finally got to where we are here. He sees failure as merely a necessary, stimulating step toward success. They learn thousands of things each time with each failure. And I think a lot of us shrink from that. We're afraid of that. So we don't bring big enough because we don't want to fail. And we don't welcome failure enough and just keep going and keep pushing through.
I agree, Dennis. Dennis Neal, author of The Leadership Genius of Elon Musk. You can get that book now. An award-winning journalist. Fascinating conversation. Dennis, thank you for being here. You come back anytime.
I'd love to have you on the pod, too.
I'd love to do it. So we can hear
what's bugging you.
Yeah, reach out. I'd be happy to join you anytime, Dennis. I'll talk to my friends from Brooklyn anytime you want. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Scott. Have a glorious day.
Yeah, there you go. Did he call me Scott? It's okay. I forgive him. Dennis Neal, the leadership genius of Elon Musk. It is a free-for-all Friday on Good Friday. Love having you here. We'll take a break. I'll be back. Well, on any given day, there are a number of serial killers in the United States at work, we're told. And what I mean by at work is not confined to jail or prison. In New England, apparently there is a concern that there is a serial killer working Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. 7 different sets of human remains found between March and April. Warrant review and investigation, according to a Pennsylvania-based criminal defense attorney and former Lawrence County District Attorney Matthew Mangino. Yeah, remains located in New Haven, Norwalk, Groton, and Killingly, Connecticut. Foster, Rhode Island. Framingham, and Plymouth, Massachusetts. It merits review, says Mangino. Part of the investigation should include looking for any kind of patterns between these deaths and the crime scenes. Were these homicides? They're very concerned about this. And like I say, any given day, there are a number of serial killers out there active. What do you think of that? These people are into true crime a lot, and so this brings this to my attention. Hillsdale College, my friends, do you agree or disagree with this statement? Capitalism has produced the greatest increase in human wealth, living standards, and overall flourishing. It's a good question. Ask 10 people to define capitalism. What do you get? 10 different answers. Do you really know what capitalism means, do you? I mean, honestly. Hillsdale College is now offering 40 free online courses. That's good for the budget. Free. Subjects like the Constitution, the Roman Republic, Genesis, and now understanding capitalism. In 7 short lectures, you'll learn about profit and loss, private property, and the rule of law, and why capitalism at its core is built not on greed, but on freedom and human nature. It's free, it's thoughtful, it's Hillsdale. Right now, go to gruberforhillsdale.com to enroll. There is no cost. Easy to get started. And you look, you can be my age and say, I know what capitalism is, Gruber. Do you really? The butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, do you really understand it? Go to gruberforhillsdale.com, register for free. That's Free, and use the promo code Gruber. Hillsdale, love them. Gruberforhillsdale.com, promo code Gruber. Get going. I'll be right here. All right. Congressman Tim Walberg with me now. It's been a busy week, to say the least. All this talk about MS-13 and gang members and who can be deported and who cannot. And A judge saying that 530,000 Nicaraguans and Venezuelans and Cubans must remain in the country, and each must get their own hearing, case by case. Congressman, welcome back to the program.
Certainly have a challenge going on between Article 1, Article 2, and Article 3 powers, don't we?
We do. You know, pretty clear to me that the president, Democrat, Republican, Independent, doesn't matter. Man, woman, big, small, fat, and tall. Doesn't matter. The president controls immigration in this country. It's pretty well laid out. Am I missing something? Do I not understand something? Do district judges have the right to put injunctions across the entire nation, and handcuff the president of the United States? I don't believe they have that power. I believe it'll end up in the Supreme Court. How do you see it?
Yeah, I don't see that power in the Constitution. And in recent weeks, I've read specific parts of that Constitution again to see what the Constitution says about the powers that are appropriate to each branch of government. And certainly Article 1 powers, which are the powers of the people, through the Congress, has the ultimate power in making the law, again, within the confines of the Constitution. But once we make the law, then you have a chief executive that carries that out and has really unlimited power from any other challenge until either the law is changed or until a court shows conclusively that the Constitution and the law have been violated. In this case, I don't know how any of these district judges who are making law, as it were, violating their place in the Constitution and becoming legislators who have not been elected to do that, are making law that takes control of the entire country, not just a district area or region. And so, no, it's pathetic to see what's going on, and the pushback and the ignorance that we have in society because of the lack of civics training in our educational systems for years. You get people that are ignorant in the definition that's given in the dictionary, not pejoratively, ignorant of what actually our government is purposed to do and who is responsible for it. So they succumb to this wild philosophy coming through our national media and through judges like we've seen recently in district courts, especially picked out because they're in D.C. and liberal places, to control the chief executive officer of the country elected by 77 million people. And that's where the challenge comes.
Yeah. You know, you see, here's where I'm confused. The Democrats, like Chris Van Hollen, have chosen sides, but they've chosen to align themselves with gang members, wife beaters, drug dealers, criminals, apparently. Here's a guy who has never met with the family of Rachel Marin, who was murdered, a mother of 5 in Maryland, one of his constituents. But he can travel all the way to El Salvador to scream about the mistreatment of a guy who is pretty clear a member of MS-13, as found by 2 different courts, and who could be legally deported. I mean, a mistake was made. He wasn't supposed to go to El Salvador. He could have gone anywhere else. Guatemala, Honduras, anywhere. Nicaragua, could have gone anywhere, just not to that country because he had been threatened by a rival gang. I mean, how much do you need to know for people to understand, look, these are not good people?
Not good people at all. What we've heard about this guy in the recent days, about how he even treated his wife with violence. I mean, the proof is there in the actions. And for the Democrats, and it's not just Chris Van Hollen, it's the Democrats in general, Cory Booker and others, who are more concerned about making sure that gangbangers, MS-13, Bloods, the Crips, etc., are treated constitutionally, which they can't be in this country. They're not constitutionally protected in this country as illegals. They're not citizens. The home of this guy is not in the United States or in Maryland. It's where he's at right now. And I mean, it's crazy to see the Democrats spending more time protecting them, voting against the Lake and Riley Act when it came through the House, voting against rogue judges bill that we put through the House a week and a half ago, and defending criminals, illegals. It's crazy. It's wrong, and it's dangerous for our country. And I hope citizens are waking up to see this disparate action with their elected officials who are representing them supposedly, but are representing them against their best interest and their security.
Yeah. Bring back our gangs. That's the battle cry from Chris Van Hollen. It's bizarre. They made their choice, but they chose these people over us. And I think it's great, Congressman. I think they should all go down to El Salvador. I think they should take AOC and Jasmine Crockett and Chris Van Hollen and Wes Moore, and they can all get down there and have a big old party and celebrate, gangbangers for America or some damn thing. Anyhow, let's talk about tariffs for a moment. I got you for about 3 more minutes. The tariffs and reshoring American manufacturing. I know you've been focused on this. You're at the Hillsdale terminal recently. Tell me about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, tariffs are being put on in place right now as an attack against what's gone on for years by countries we helped, we assisted to rebuild after the war. We gave them special tariff opportunities, but they've never lightened up. And so now we have a president who finally is willing to take the slings and arrows of the national media and the Democrats and say no further. And yeah, there is going to be some disruption, but now you see multiples of countries coming to the United States to meet with our president, to meet with our negotiators, and talk through how we can finally even that out. And the president isn't even asking in many countries to make it an exact even tariff, but to bring it down, to give us a chance. And it's working, in fact, simply because we're seeing this negotiation going on. In the end, if we don't weaken because of the crazy media talk about it and the Democrats talk about it, who have done nothing to secure our country and our trade policy, we will have a better opportunity to succeed. We'll have more jobs. The auto workers get it. They want to see their jobs come back. They want to build the cars they know how to build in this country. And in the meantime, we can do away with some of the craziness of pushing specific cars like EVs that aren't ready for prime time yet and give Americans choice. So it will happen. I met with farmers yesterday. They understand it's a challenge for them right now, but they know in the end it's not working the way it is. And the way we're going, the direction we're going, will ultimately work better for them as well.
And that's why American middle-class voters flocked to Donald Trump for exactly what you just outlined, Congressman. I got to leave it there for today, but it's true. It's why there's been a shift politically in this country for the working people, the men and women in this country that go to work today and every day on this Good Friday. Congressman, thank you for being here.
Great to be here, and may the message of Good Friday reach us all.
Thank you, sir, and happy Easter. We'll take a break. It's the Steve Gruber Show. I'll be right back. All right, it is Good Friday, free-for-all Friday. By the way, if you'd like to pick up the phone and get involved with the conversation, 877-310-9966. That's the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, open for business to you, America. Anytime you want to jump on the line, 877-310-9966. We'll get to Jack in Toledo in just a moment, but it is Good Friday, and therefore I want to hear from Franklin Graham. Roll it.
Our Father and our God, we come tonight to say thank you. Thank you for sending your Son, Jesus Christ, to this earth to take our sins. That he died on the cross, shedding his own blood for each and every one. Buried in a tomb of sin. But on the third day, you raised him to life. And Father, we know that if we confess our sins and repent and believe on the name of your Son, the Lord Jesus Christ, we shall be saved. And Father, it's my prayer tonight that many people this Easter would turn from their sins and by faith believe on the name of your Son. And it's his name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. There you have it. Happy Good Friday. Good to have you here. More of that still to come. We're going to go to Jack in Toledo on the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. Jack, I know you've been waiting patiently, as you often do. How are you, sir?
Doing great. I just have to know if this is Steve Headroom or if this is Steve Gruber. I just want to make sure that we haven't gone all AI.
Yeah, I've gone all AI. I am a figment of my own imagination. You got me, Jack. Well, actually, I'm real. But it doesn't, you've heard those conversations. Does that not concern you that we're going to have AI news anchors, AI reporters, AI? Nothing will be real at some point. That's why I go fishing, because the natural world is still, it's still the real thing. Anyhow, what's on your mind?
Well, I am amazed that no one is talking about the retail sales report that came out, because every single category other than gasoline went up month to month and same month, March to March, in this last report, except gasoline. So that means if you're spending less on gas, you can spend more money on other things like food, clothing, etc.
All right,
and
so let's see here. Just
always
hold a
amazed
second.
that
the gas price down again today, half a cent from yesterday. Down, let's see here, 7 cents from a week ago. Down, it was $3.67 a year ago, and it's $3.16 as a national average. So, you know, we're down 51, 52 cents, which is pretty. I mean, that adds up. If you're saving 50 cents a gallon and you're putting 20 gallons in your car, it's $10. That's more milk, that's more eggs, that's more whatever, right? It's just more money.
Exactly. And it always astounds me. And the thing that is also a little disingenuous is the way that they put out the reports, because the headline number is what is going on seasonally adjusted in one table, and then it's unadjusted in another. But the overall trend line is that since January, the inflation rate for both all item inflation and excluding energy and food are on a downward trend.
So wait a second. So hold on. Everything except energy and food, but energy prices have come way down. Oil, you know, 3 weeks ago, oil was in that $80 to $85 range. It's been in $60 to $65 range, going on. It's getting close to a month now, I guess, right? I mean, the price of oil has...
True, but what's also happening is food prices, even though the media has basically stopped reporting it, food prices have ticked up a little bit. So when you throw in food prices going up a bit and energy prices coming down, that food and energy combined is, while it's coming down, it's not coming down as fast as it could. And now that the energy prices are coming down, food prices should come down somewhat because of the energy input that it takes to move things across the country.
The takeaway here, Jack, is it's good news. We're heading in the right direction. Inflation, as I saw, was 2.4%. It's better than it was 6 months ago or a year ago, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And so let me ask you this.
The trend line is better.
Yeah, let me ask you this, because the trend line is far better. Here's the question. When is the Fed going to do its job and lower interest rates? Look, they lower interest rates in September of 2024 when inflation wasn't coming down. We're still above 3%. And now Jerome Powell is stubborn and not bringing it down when you're at 2.4%. If you bring the interest rates down, you're going to move mortgages again. You're going to move used cars again. You're going to move a lot of things again, maybe even toys like boats and RVs, right?
Correct. And I just think that there's a lot of concern about what is full employment, and we are nowhere near the unemployment level that we actually had back under Clinton when participation was much higher, when teens were participating at a much higher rate, when everyone was participating at a much higher rate other than women. But men have seen a decrease in their participation rate because you have women competing for the jobs, you have other people competing for the jobs, you have automation.
So they just excuse themselves from the conversation.
Well, they just didn't get rehired after the Great Recession.
Yeah.
You can see, and this is getting a little wonky, but you can see in the cohorts in 5-year age groups how the participation rate has stayed statically low for the people who were laid off during the Great Recession.
All right, so we got about 15, 20 seconds here. Are we in a good place and getting better? Are you optimistic? That's what I'm asking you.
I'm optimistic. I think that Jerome Powell is playing politics. He's not really looking at the numbers. The unemployment numbers have been gradually rising for about the last year and a half, 2 years, but they're still at quote-unquote healthy levels.
All right.
So I
Gotta
think
leave it
the
there,
change in the administration might have averted a recession.
Well, there's some good news on a Good Friday. Jack, thank you. Jack from Toledo. He brings us the numbers. He grinds them up and spits them out pretty well, I'd be saying. There you have it. I'll be right back.
With the Michigan
All right, time to check in on sports with Brock Palmbush.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. There were 10 games in Major League Baseball yesterday. American League winners included the New York Yankees, Detroit, and Seattle. National League winners included Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Arizona. It was the final night of the regular season in the National Hockey League last night. There were 7 games on the ice. Winners were Buffalo, Toronto, Ottawa, the New York Rangers, Pittsburgh, Columbus, and Calgary. The Stanley Cup playoffs begin tomorrow night. No NBA games last night as the league's play-in tournament concludes tonight with 2 games to determine the 8th seeds in each conference. And in golf, the PGA Tour's RBC Heritage Classic got underway in Hilton Head, South Carolina. Justin Thomas shot a course record 10 under par 61 to take the first round lead. World number 1 Scotty Scheffler and Russell Henley are 3 shots back at 7 under par. Round 2 is today in Hilton Head. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
All right, Brock, I've got a closed circuit announcement for those in and around the Lansing, Michigan area here, somewhere near the home base, right? I've got a closed circuit announcement. For a lot of you, it's that time of the year when turkey hunting begins. I haven't even thought about it yet. I know Brother Shane's thinking about it. He's itching to get out. It's like the cabin fever breaks, right? And people get out. Well, I've got a turkey poll for you, Turkey Poll 25. It'll be happening at the Williamson Roadhouse, April the 19th. April the 19th, a turkey poll. And some great prizes. Some great prizes there. Prizes for the first, second, and third largest turkeys. The Youth Hunter prizes, 16 and under. Each bird entered automatically is going to win into the prize drawing, that is. They've got a cooler so they can take care of stuff. Great sponsors, including some of our friends like Total Firearms. Zinda's is a restaurant in Williamson we're aware of. Lansing Ice and Fuel, other great sponsors. You can find out more at the Williamson Roadhouse. That's on Grand River in Williamston, Michigan. A turkey pool. That's closed circuit just for the folks in that area. You want to go. I'm guessing this is more of a thing. I mean, buck pools have always been a thing. Turkey pools. Growing in popularity, gives folks something to do. And by the way, it doesn't involve a smartphone or an iPad. You can actually get out, like I say, interact with nature, the natural world. And, of course, interact with a shotgun as well. It is Free for All Friday. I'll be right back. Kicking off another brand new hour here of the Steve Gruber Show, lighting the fuse and letting it explode all over America and in the streaming media, of course. It's the Steve Gruber Show, fighting for you for the Foxhole freedom every single day on this Good Friday. Glad to have you here. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, nearly 1,500 people still without power. 19 days after that massive ice storm in northern Michigan, like a Category 5 hurricane. Number two, a mass exodus of students from big city schools. I mean, a mass exodus. These schools are a fraction of what they were just 25 years ago. And number three, it is Free-for-All Friday, free speech, Good Friday. So much to celebrate today. In fact, we're going to get to the phone lines. I got Jess in California. You can get on the lines on the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877 310-9966, 877-310-9966. Join the conversation. Just 1 second, because I want to play one bite here. It's bite number 3, Anthony. I didn't tell you that. Bite number 3, Donald Trump, about this week. Here it is.
Nearly 2,000 years ago, during the sacred week, the living Son of God entered Jerusalem in triumph. Soon after, the Savior of mankind, who brought truth and light into the world, was betrayed, arrested, and tried, beaten, and nailed to a cross and crucified. For our sake, he gave up his life, and as the very great Reverend Billy Graham once said, God proved his love on the cross when Christ hung and bled and died. It was God saying to the world, I love you. Those are beautiful words from a great man, Franklin, right? A great man, Franklin's incredible father.
And there's Donald Trump, President of the United States, recognizing Holy Week. Remember last year on Good Friday, they recognized Trans Visibility Day or something like that. No, Donald Trump, he recognizes Good Friday on the Holy Week of Easter. Holiest days of the year for Christians. And there's your president. All right, we're going to go to the phone lines. Jess is in California. Jess, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty doggone good, Steve.
Good.
And I just want to let you know that I love God and I love Jesus and I love you too.
Well, you got it in the right order. You got it in the right order. I'm third on that list, as I should be. Anyhow, what's on your mind?
Well, you know, you got to love Mr. Kennedy Jr. here. I was listening. They're talking about how many ADHD kids they got. They said they got 25% of the kids, I think between 18 and 25 college age, that are on Adderall or Ritalin. And
money-making machine, isn't it?
Well, I guess so. But, you know, they were acting like it was some kind of new thing. And I was thinking back to, you know, South Park, that funny show. But all the kids were sitting there, and they were in class, and one of the kids is all gooped up, and they're all, what's up with Jimmy? And they're like, he's too hyper and stuff, so they gave him these pills, and he was just all doped up.
Yeah.
So the kids were all, well, gee, I want some. He's all, well, all you got to do is act up in class and then be, like, unruly, and then they'll put you on them. And then the last scene of all the 4 kids from South Park were sitting there just all right on.
You know, isn't it interesting, though?
Yeah, but my
Jess?
my mom told me when my brother was a little kid back in like 1969, early 70s, the doctors told my mom my brother was hyperactive, and they tried to put him on Ritalin back in the early 70s. So this isn't any new thing that they're doing.
I told my mother about my brother. She ought to be ashamed of herself.
Well, well,
I said, look at those people. Mom, what is that? Look at those people. Anyhow, Jess, it is when I say money-making operation, what I mean by that is these big pharmaceutical companies, man, they just cash in on this deal. They get a kid on these medications, and they look. We were hyper when we were in school too. We didn't get Ritalin or anything. We got sent to the principal's office on a pretty regular basis. I know that's shocking to hear. Anyhow, I guess he went away, huh, Brock?
Yeah, he's gone.
Good call, though. He made me laugh. South Park. What's wrong with Jimmy? Well, Jimmy acted up, so they just doped him up. You know, and it's funny, but it's not. I mean, when Bobby Kennedy says, look, a sick child is a gold mine to these people. It's true. You know, they're trying to put these, what's this weight loss drug? Ozempic? Is that it, right?
Yeah, it's very popular right now.
Right. Well, here's the problem, Brock. They're trying to put 5- and 6-year-olds on it. That's the push now because it's somewhere between $900 and $1,500 a month. So I mean, so you're $12,000 to $18,000 a year times a few million people. And the outcomes, look, in some cases, it's very good. It lowers your risk of heart disease and diabetes. And okay, I get all that. But 6-year-olds. I mean, the incident of...
They're giving it to kids who are overweight?
Yeah. Yeah, so here's the thing. You know, you end up... Look, we talk about autism a lot. You know, the incident of autism, which is worthy conversation, very important to have. What we don't talk about is childhood diabetes. The fact that we're setting these kids up for a lifetime of misery and failure because they are morbidly obese at 6, 7, 8 years old. They've got a lifetime of misery in front of them and health problems and mobility issues and sore joints and problems. I mean, how horrible. Yeah, go back and look. I deplore you. Go back and look. Go online, find any random high school graduation picture 1965. Then compare it to a random high school graduation picture 1985. And then go to 2005 and then go to 2025. You'll see a change that is it's grotesque. When I played high school football, Kevin I was the center. I weighed about 180 pounds. When I was a senior, about 180 pounds, 185 on a heavy day. Wish I still did. I don't. Anyhow, but Kevin next to me weighed 145 pounds. He was the starting guard. At 145 pounds at a school, we had a pretty good football team. Pretty good sized school, C school in Michigan, pretty good sized school. Probably had 40 kids on the team. A few years ago, I went back to that same school, and the smallest guy on the line was 225 pounds. The biggest guy was over 300. 300 pounds. When I was in high school, the heaviest lineman on the team was 205 pounds. And he was 205 pounds. He was in my class. He got moved up to varsity. He got moved up to varsity as a freshman because he was big and he could move. 205 pounds. But he graduated, but he didn't get a heck of a lot bigger. But the point being, everything's changed. And no, I don't think putting kids on obesity drugs at 5 and 6 years of age is a good idea. It's great for the drug companies because they make piles of money, but come on. That child has been set up for failure and misery. That's why I'm with Bobby Kennedy. We have got to do better than that. We've got to take care of our children better than that. Make America healthy again, please. I'll take a break. It's a free-for-all Friday. I'll be right back. All right. Nice to see you here on a free-for-all Good Friday, right? Good to have you here. Another sad shooting here, this time at Florida State University. At least 2 people killed. Others remain hospitalized, so I don't know where the final toll might end up. But it's just terrible. In this case, so strange. The presser yesterday took a big twist in the middle when the county sheriff says, yeah, by the way, the kid here is well known to us because he's been involved with the county sheriff, and his mother has been a deputy for 20 years. Join me, Steve Doolin here, the best-looking guy in legality today, the good lawyer. There he is, smartest, best-looking lawyer of all time, Steve Doolin. Doolin?
Thanks, Gruber.
Of course. Look, in Michigan, because one of the things you also learned is that one of the guns he had, maybe the gun he used, I'm not sure, I'm clear on this yet, belonged to his mother, the deputy. And in Michigan, if that had happened, you'd go to jail based on that alone. Pretty close, right?
Well, if the child is a minor, I didn't catch his age.
He's 20. He's 20.
Yeah, no. That's not covered by the safe storage law that we just passed last year in Michigan, that went into effect early this year. That one is for minor children, and that goes back to the high school shooting, right, of 3 or 4 years ago. Go on. Right. So there's the law that we have in place in Michigan has sort of a sliding scale of penalties depending on how severe the harm is that's caused when the minor gets a hold of any adult's gun, really, not just parents. And in this case, since he's 20, that wouldn't apply necessarily. Now, under the theory that the high school shooter's parents were prosecuted under, if anyone knows that a person, right, and this is the same in most states, but if you know that a person is likely to do some violence with your gun and you knowingly provide them with the gun, you can still be charged as an accessory if you're the gun owner.
Well, here's the bottom line is this. I think she's an 18-year veteran of the Sheriff's Department, well-known. He was well-known, right? He was involved in youth programs with the Sheriff's Department, but her career is over. Let's just call it for what it is. Her career is over. No way around it in this day and age, period. And you'd have to ask, how would he have access to her service weapon? I mean, honestly.
Well, a number of ways. He could have broken into a locked room or a locked container.
That's fair.
That's entirely possible. Kids, we're both parents. Kids get into everything. And as the little kids get older, you have to sort of escalate your levels of security for everything. Household chemicals, car keys, guns, anything that's dangerous. When they're really, really little, you keep them out of the silverware drawer in the kitchen.
All true. So what do you think? I mean, look, you and I are gun owners, proud gun owners, common sense gun owners. I don't believe anybody's gotten my gun ever when they weren't supposed to. What about penalties? What about the safe storage law in Michigan? What about what happened in Florida? I think it's reasonable for people to have questions about why does this keep happening? Is there something we can do differently? Is there something we can do better? I think that's a reasonable question. I don't know what the answer is, Doolin.
I don't know that there's any sort of cookie cutter one size fits all. It's really hard to argue with the law that we've got in place in Michigan because there's no requirement that the gun be stored in a certain specific way for all gun owners. It says very clearly, if you have minor children in the home, you must keep your gun secure, and it provides a couple of different ways you can do that, which are the common sense ways, gun locks, safes, etc., the things that we do anyway, most of us. And if you don't, and the kid gets a hold of the gun and something bad happens, then you've got these different penalties depending on how severe the harm is. So the law doesn't actually apply until or unless a child does some kind of harm with the gun owner's gun. and it has to be a place where the gun owner knows that there are children likely to be. So that one's pretty hard to argue with. And a lot of gun owners actually supported it very strongly when it was first proposed. Now, when you're talking about an adult person who commits a crime essentially by getting a hold of a gun, right? He stole his mother's gun, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
The general rule is if somebody else commits a crime, they cut off your liability. If you steal my car and go rob a bank, it's not going to be my fault as the car owner. So it's called intervening superseding cause, and it's a very well established idea in law. When we're talking about adults, it really is a different story.
Yeah. Well, we'll see where this all leads. I just every time I look up and it happens too often, I see active shooter, and my heart sinks.
Sure,
it does, because you know that it doesn't end well for a lot of people, and it doesn't end well for gun owners like you and I who follow the law every day and respect firearms. I'll give you the last word.
It's sadly predictable. I teach a firearms law course to law students, and I tell them every time I teach that course, I predict that there will be another mass killing in a so-called gun-free zone soon. I call them mass murderer empowerment zones. And this happened in another mass murderer empowerment zone. In fact, Florida almost passed a guns on campus bill earlier this year. And there's a group out there who are very proud of the fact that they kept guns off campuses, but they don't, do they?
No.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. Doolin, glad you're here. Happy Good Friday, my friend.
Thanks, Gruber. Have a great Easter.
You too, my friend. There you have it. We usually have more fun, but when things like this happen, it kind of sucks the joy out of it a little bit. Hopefully next Friday will be more fun. It's the Steve Gruber Show. Oh, well, let's see here. Urban school districts. I mentioned that to you. Let me give you some numbers. This is, by the way, this comes from my news company, MichiganNewsSource.com. MichiganNewsSource.com. We spend piles of money, and some would argue good money after bad, to prop up bad schools. Think that's fair? I think that's fair to say. We prop up bad schools, right? Every day in this country. We do it every day. Let me give you an example of what's happened to urban schools over the last 25 years for enrollment. Detroit, 25 years ago, in the 1999-2000 school year, went from 168,000 students to 48,000 students this year. 168 to 48. 120,000 students have vanished. In Grand Rapids, 25,000, almost 26,000 to 13,000. Lansing from 18,000 to 9,000. Pontiac from 12,000 to less than 4,000 kids in the Pontiac School District. And Benton Harbor, 6,200 to 1,200. It's remarkable. Schools of choice, charter schools. For example, Flint has 6,578 students this year, city residents, and attend a different school district. 1,047 students reside in Flint and attend the Carmen Ainsworth district, 6 miles away. You know why? Their parents want them in a school that'll actually work. Flint gets like $30,000 per kid. I think they're among the highest as far as money goes from the state, about $30,000 a student, if I'm not mistaken, if memory serves. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Still to come on this Good Friday. I've been very good, which means Ivy will join me early. Yay! I'll be right back. All right. We've got a lot of different things we're working on here at the program, all right? A lot of different things. New platforms we launched on YouTube Live here just the last couple of days. So if you're watching and you're looking for different alternatives to see the program in streaming and so forth, we've got YouTube, we've got Rumble, we've got Facebook, I think, or is it starting back up on Monday? X, we've got that, and we've got the genius behind it. That, of course, is Ivy. Look, there she is, hiding behind. Hey,
Good morning, Steve. How are you doing?
Hello, Governor. Hello, Governor.
Hey there. Oh my gosh, how hilarious! She's never gonna live that one down.
No, that's not gonna get old. Hey. It's like, what was that show? Home Improvement.
She said that she didn't want to get her picture taken. Yeah, it was the guy.
Home Improvement. Yeah.
The guy, the neighbor, that you never see any part of it other than his eyeballs.
Right.
He's like, she said I didn't want my picture taken, and I shouldn't have done that. And I'm human. I'll laugh at my mistakes. So
why not? We're all laughing at her.
Anyways.
Yeah. So how are you?
So I'm great. It's
Good.
Free for All Friday, Free Speech Friday. Love this tradition that we do every week to listen to our viewers, and we're going to start integrating your comments online as well. So continue to do that. We love your interaction online.
Yeah, you were just reading some of that interaction to me in the break. Yeah.
And so continue to do that. But it also, what I love talking about on Friday is the dumbest thing I've heard all week.
Whoa, it's going to be a challenge any given week.
Any given week. So here is what I have for you.
Friendly reminder, as a white American woman, I will no longer be dating white men. I'm looking for anything other than a white man. Okay? Just a heads up.
Good luck.
I mean, what the heck is she? First of all, what the heck are you talking about? Second of all, why are you? I don't know. I'm just not that person who's like everything about me needs to be put online.
Everything's about race.
And everything is about race. And why wouldn't you want to date a Caucasian white man? Like, what have they done so wrong?
Right.
Clearly, you're a liberal.
They were born white as a boy and a male boy. And
shame on them.
Yeah. How dare
for
they
being
be born
white?
Yeah. Okay. So if we're going to talk about race and the dumbest thing I've heard all week, all right, go ahead, Anthony.
So let me tell you something. This ain't about criminality. This is about the fact that he was a little too dark for them, and he ain't even that dark. But they don't like melanin. Melanin is the biggest enemy that they have ever seen. This is why they go after certain people.
Jasmine Crockett, your favorite of mine.
I figured it was her. I wondered.
So MS-13.
People don't like melanin, huh?
Right. So an MS-13 guy who beat his wife, and he's been adjudicated by 2 courts of competent jurisdiction to be a member of MS-13, was pulled over in Tennessee with a carload of people from Texas with no actual, paperwork, so they believed he was human trafficking. Beat his wife to the point that she got restraining orders on a couple of different occasions.
Yeah.
This is the hill they want to die on, apparently.
Well, he didn't have the car that he was driving when he was pulled over had a expired license plate.
Car.
Wasn't his car. It was suspected this car had been
stolen.
Suspected in a trafficking or human smuggling situation. And so this is all actually being verified.
And yet, Genius Jasmine says, well, it's about race. It's about melanin because he's a little too dark. He's not even dark, dude.
Right. And what is this thing about with the Democrats saying they're going to be disappearing Americans and disappearing people?
Oh, good God.
He didn't disappear.
Check your meds.
You were told exactly where he went, and that it's like this fear mongering that all these. The other thing I'm hearing is all of our, when we're liberals, we're going to be disappeared, and they're going to send us all over the world, and we're never going to have a voice. It's like, are you off your rocker?
Yes. Yeah.
What planet do you live on? Sometimes, when you listen to these people talk or you have conversations, you just wonder if they're from Mars. Like, what world are you
So
living
I just glanced down. You're talking. I glanced down. Here's David Hogg, the new vice chair of the DNC, this 20-something, little skinny waif weasel who's made a career out of a school shooting at Stoneman High School in Florida, which he wasn't even there, by the way. We know now. But he's out there. We need more of this. We need more of Chris Van Hollen, and I agree with him. I think we should have Democrats in El Salvador every single day doing photo ops, they're sitting there having margaritas. He got this guy out, this Abrejo Garcia, for a little while yesterday, apparently. They had margaritas. How nice. The wife beater, the MS-13 human trafficker,
I don't even get that. Like, I don't understand.
I don't know how it happened either.
How that happened. How does a senator go to a prison?
But
This
he
guy
did.
is in prison, and then he gets let out to go have cocktails with this guy.
Well,
like, how does that? First of all,
here's how it happened.
If he's a criminal, why is he out to begin with?
Right, fair enough. But here's why: because all of these crazy leftists, oh, he's been dead, he's been tortured,
Yeah.
So Bukele masterclassed them. Bukele, the president of El Salvador, said, "Really? Tortured? Okay, here he is. Go have a freaking margarita." He's been down there for what, a month? Didn't look too tortured to me. He's sitting there, and the way that Chris Van Hollen, what a shame this is. This senator, who has never, by the way, met Rachel Marin's family, the woman that was actually brutally murdered in Maryland by an El Salvador illegal alien, mother of 5. He's never bothered to meet her family or talk to them, but he'll fly all the way to El Salvador to meet a guy who beat his wife, who trafficked in human beings, who is a member of MS-13. It's appalling on every level.
It is.
Makes me angry.
Ludicrous,
it's Good Friday. I'm not
and
supposed to be this angry.
Well, it's beyond the imagination of what I would think would be normal behavior. Like, I do not understand why Democrats are willing to die on this hill of
And again, David Holland
celebrating
says they want more of this.
Like celebrating George Floyd. Let's go back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Celebrating George Floyd.
Wonderful human being, Ivy.
Yes, and then making him into a hero, and then like doing the same thing with this Garcia fella, and then the same thing happened with the protests of 2020. When Black Lives Matter and Antifa were literally burning cities down.
Literally.
Oh, it's okay. They have the right to protest, the left said. And it's just,
Yeah,
I just
you
don't
have the right
understand.
to burn down city blocks, but
And the more and more and more the progressive left is the voice of the Liberal Party, it just to me seems like they're going to have a very hard time ever winning elections. Like, because middle America does not believe that this is the right way to go.
I don't think anybody believes it's the right way to go.
Right. Well, no, I mean, there are people who vote for this stuff.
Well,
People voted in AOC. People vote in, Chuck Schumer. People vote in these radical leftists. So,
by the
yes.
way, did you see this?
What?
Yesterday. The most likely person to be nominated for the Democrat.
Yes, AOC.
Yeah, AOC is your
She's
number
a
one
likely candidate for president
of the United States for the Democratic Party.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, anyhow, we'll take it. Are you still with me? Are you sticking around?
Yeah, I'm sticking around.
It is such a good Friday. We'll be back on the Steve Gruber Show. So I'm not going to get into all the details, but I got up and stepped away from the desk for a moment during the break. You know, if you can train a Labrador with a shock collar, don't you think you could train a 12-year-old boy with a shock collar? I mean, why would that be unfair or inappropriate? 12-year-old boys need shock collars half the time, Ivy. Good Lord.
I know that you're joking, but
I am?
Yes. But yes, you know, I think
sort
that
of. I'm
sometimes
mostly joking.
12-year-old boys, as they're coming into puberty, I feel like have just lose their mind.
Their brain shrinks to half its normal size.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure any parent with teenagers going into puberty can relate.
And boys, you know, my mother had 3 boys, and I've met women that have had 3 or 4 boys. I'm thinking, how do you do it?
Yeah.
How do you do it? Anyhow.
A lot of patience and
a shock collar.
grace. Yeah.
A shock collar. All right. What do you got for me?
Well, you know how I always love to talk about positive stories. I'm going to attempt to bring something every day positive to talk about because
we need it?
oftentimes we just really, you know, that we have a responsibility to tell you about what's going on.
You know, on the afternoon program, and for people that don't know, every day I do a show called America's Voice Live on Real America's Voice Network. It happens from 3 to 4 Eastern Time. At the end of that program every day, we say what makes America wonderful. We bring a nice story because there are so many great stories out there that get lost in this blizzard of negativity.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate what you're doing. Go ahead.
Yeah. So a 10-year-old California young lady, prodigy, is set to graduate from college with 2 degrees.
How old?
10 years old. Isn't that incredible? And I just think, you know,
what did she study?
Sometimes,
you know,
I'm looking through. Actually, this article does not say what it is.
I don't care if she studied basket weaving. If she's a 10-year-old with 2
associate degrees. So, in fairness, it wasn't, you know, like it's
not
still
a 4-year
a
degree
college
yet,
degree.
But okay, fair enough.
But I mean, how incredible when you think about young people these days, and I often wonder how much devices have really slowed down the progression of society as a whole, not only from our children, but society, because we are so utterly distracted.
Dependent is the concern.
Well, I don't know about dependency. I find it to be distraction, because how can you invent, how can you conceptualize new ideas if you never sit and think?
Hold on. It's true. You never sit and think. Brock, do we have a caller?
We do. Sarah in Michigan.
All right, let's hear it.
Sarah, how are you?
Hi, Steve. Am I on with Ivy and Steve?
Yes.
Good morning, Sarah.
Holy moly, this is awesome. Steve, I love your show. It is so great. I listen every morning.
I appreciate that greatly.
And how are you doing today?
I wanted to call in because, you know, Sunday is Easter, and I've been really working on putting a lot of food together. And I hear that you guys do some, like, preserving and canning, possibly some salsa. I hear that that's been really good for you.
We do some canning.
I also hear.
Yeah. So
that's so awesome. I'm going to have to get some tips and tricks. I also hear that, you know, possibly y'all like to do the whole, like, ham and mashed potatoes, all those things. I love a twice-baked potato. I'm just saying. They're really delicious. Have you ever tried one?
Yes. You know, I haven't actually cooked twice-baked potatoes in about 10 years, so that's a really great idea.
That's a great idea. Sarah, are you having family together for Easter?
We are. We're going to get the family together, have a whole shindig, go out and do some egg hunting, have a great time. I'm really hoping the family's going to all come together. And thank you, Steve, for having me. You're so handsome, and your wife is so beautiful. Thank you for having me this glorious morning.
Thank you. Thank you for calling in.
Oh, good Lord. Anyhow,
I love those positive callers. That just makes my heart
that's
so
what
happy.
you wanted. You wanted a great, by the way, speaking of positive comments, I played Franklin Graham earlier, giving a prayer for Easter. And Barry sent a note and said, thank you for that. Because in this busy world of ours, we lose track of what really matters.
Right,
Easter
and it's
matters.
the same thing of what I've just said about not only sitting quietly and thinking about your goals or thinking about inventing things or whatever it is that you're going to be thinking about, but it's also setting that time aside and setting quiet time aside to
Calm your mind.
connect with God. And so I think so many people are just so busy. Wake up, go, 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 go. Kids, work, 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 work. And we forget just the basic principles of just stopping, slowing down. You know, you're talking about smelling the roses.
Yeah.
I think so many people just don't do that anymore.
But you,
and I think that's
you do need
really
quiet
important.
time to calm your mind, to focus, hear God, like you said. I think that's incredibly important. By the way, I hear your cat, too.
She does not understand the importance of quiet, for sure.
No, especially not when you're, she is upset right now.
Yeah.
Anyhow, for everybody out there, we hope you have a great Good Friday. We hope, like Sarah, you bring your family together and enjoy this Easter holiday and the special times, because look, you only get so many shots at this. In your entire lifetime, how many Easters do you get that you can really remember?
They are less, if you add them all up in a lifetime, less than you would think, actually.
A lot less than you would think, especially what you remember. I mean, to think about the ones when you're an adult, for example.
Absolutely.
She's going wild over there. Anyhow, we'll take Ivy. Thank you as always. Love you.
Of course, I love you too.
We'll take a break, have some final thoughts here on this Good Friday. Remember, you can always send us an email, stevegruber.com. Again, we're brand new on YouTube, live there every day. We're live on X. We're live on Facebook. I think we're back live on Monday on Facebook, actually. But all sorts of places. And stevegruber.com, a great place to read what's going on and my thoughts as well. We'll be right back. Here's a little bit of a news item. I think it's quite interesting that just crossed the wire here. From Tulsi Gabbard, your Director of National Intelligence, saying that 10,000 documents related to the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. just being released. What have they been hiding here, I wonder? With JFK, I mean, they released, 60,000 documents, something like that. Not sure we hit anything new there, maybe. It fed, it was bias confirmation for a lot of folks. Oh, this is what I thought. This fits in. Look, I don't believe there's a single shooter. I never will. The way I've seen the Zapruder film, we've all seen it. I don't believe there was a single shooter in Dallas in 1963. As far as Robert F. Kennedy Jr., 10,000 pages. I don't know what we're going to learn from that, but we're going to learn something. Mm-hmm. We're going to learn something, I'm sure. And so that comes from Tulsi Gabbard on this Good Friday. It gives the internet community, the investigators, the sleuths, an opportunity to dig in, to dig deep, to see what they can find and bring us some answers. And I appreciate that. I do. Let's see. Meanwhile, Giorgia Meloni was here working out a deal for not only Italy on trade, but also the EU, all 27 nations of the European Union. 27, if you didn't know, 27 nations in the EU, because they lost one. The UK said, we're out. Brexit, of course. And we'll leave it probably there for today. Look, Good Friday, a day to reflect on who we are and where we're going. This Easter weekend, more of the same. Take time to spend with family. Look, you only get so many Easters and Christmases and special occasions. Spend it with the people that matter most to you and make the most of it. And if you got some differences, put them aside, at least for the day. All right? At least for Easter Sunday. Fight the good fight and keep the faith. God bless America. I'm Steve Gruber. This is the Steve Gruber Show. And remember, only you can save America.
Somewhere around 400.